How we doing, everyone? Welcome to FSI's NASCAR DFS Pick Show. I am your host, TK Nation 47. That is the eyebrow raising Mega Ruler 31 on the other line. Mega, good evening to you, and are you excited for Daytona?
I'm apprehensive. I mean, man, we're having such a great day in Cup at Michigan. And Brad Keselowski, I hate you.
So I was not watching the race, but I had a lot of either Twitter messages or DMs in our Discord. And for some reason, I have this feeling I was winning a lot of money for that last restart, and I lost a lot of money after that last restart. So I have a feeling Brad Keselowski ruined what was probably maybe even a five-figure day for me. So I'm not gonna thank God I didn't see it. I'm just gonna move on and go as if it never happened.
Yeah, he might have cost Austin Dillon a chance at a championship. That's even bigger. So, but
Oh
anyways,
boy.
we're on to Xfinity.
All right. Well, there you have it. We're on to Cincinnati, as Bill Belichick so eloquently put it, in the NFL season when he was caught with the whole scandals and whatnot. But yeah, let's harness that energy into our Daytona breakdown here for the Xfinity race. We have, let me get to my schedule here. We have
Wawa
the
250.
Wawa 250 or WAWA, whatever you want to call it,
It's
Daytona.
like a gas station convenience store chain.
Okay, that's all right. We have 100 laps on the plate race here at Daytona International Speedway. Mega, we have a typical strategy to talk about. Go ahead and talk to us about plate racing DFS strategy.
Well, a lot of times, like people place differential is key here because no matter how many cars you have started, the 40th place car could get up to the front real easily because it's easy to pass on these tracks. I know they dialed down the horsepower here on the Cup cars. I haven't heard that they made any adjustment on these cars to try to make them not clump together as much and not have the big one. I think no matter what they do, you're always going to have the potential to have the big one. Although there's sometimes they made these plate races so stupid with too much downforce on the cars, and it was like a parade, and it was like super boring. I remember a couple of those plate races at Daytona and Talladega, and I understand we don't want anybody to get hurt, let alone get killed. Like, and these are very, very fast tracks, and they need to do what they can do. So most of the time, people will stack like for any combination of like 30 on back with your six drivers. They'll multi-enter and it'll be like 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and then 34, 36, and 34, 37, like the combinations of everything. There are some guys down there, I think that's plays, and it is very, very risky to play guys at the top here for this, because if they don't finish up here, and they finish down in like the 20s, and you're going to lose a ton of points. So I don't think it's necessarily you need to pick the winner here, but you need to pick cars that are going to get good place differential. That is the keyword of the day.
Yep, absolutely. Place differential, place differential, place differential. I typically like to do in more GPP style. I try to nail the guys that are really good at finishing these races. Now we're going to have the Xfinity cars, and there's not that many good drivers in this series. Man, the trucks on this track are as destructive as the Xfinity cars, but these Xfinity drivers, it may look clean for 80 laps, but the last 20 laps, I have a feeling when it comes down to it and people are going to want to win at Daytona, it's going to get pretty, disgusting. Green, white, checkered usually finishes these kind of races. I think we're going to have wrecks, whether, it's on the restarts at the end of the stages, or it's just guys that don't know how to handle these cars on this kind of track, going this kind of speed, and especially Xfinity Cup drivers. So I expect cautions. Maybe even if we don't get the big one, I expect people to ruin their days. So yes, I agree. The top 15 probably very risky, but hey, maybe there's a guy in here that does really well on plate races. So let's see if we can find that guy based on history, some form. Let's start off with AJ Allmendinger. Guy's kind of really
There's
feeling it right
one more.
now, winning on multiple different tracks.
There's one more thing that we need to discuss here.
Oh, fire away.
The races in Florida, and it's hurricane season.
Yeah, there is
potential for
tropical
weather.
storm.
Yeah. So hopefully not. They're night races. So we'll see what happens there, but hopefully it holds off and it doesn't shorten these races. So anyways, okay, back to AJ Allmendinger on the pole.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cully is a great program here. They do really well with the cups. And that's another strategy too that you might want to employ is stacking teams. So like put all the Cully guys together, put all the Gibbs guys together, because they do tend to work together. Manufacturers also. So there's very few Fords in here. So it might be hard. That's probably your worst team if you try to stack all the Fords together. That's definitely $1 YOLO for you. Don't put that in your $100 single entry. No,
definitely doing that in the 50 cent now. just the
so,
Fords.
Yeah, the 5 center if that's the dime one. But anyways, the Toyotas together, the Gibbs and maybe a couple other ones. It's better in Cup because then you have like the affiliations, and we'll go over that in the Cup video when we get to it. But stacking is one thing, but I don't know, like on the pole here, I think he's a GPP. He has raced at Daytona 3 times in Xfinity. He's got like other races and Cup and stuff, but just looking at the Xfinity numbers, he's only finished one of the 3 races, and he finished in the top 5, and he led like 28% of the laps. But then again, he's had 2 non finishes. So I don't know. I think it's very risky. I think, the first 3 here, I mean, I like the pricing on it, but I think I'm pretty much out on these guys.
Yeah, I think it is the price tag that is just going to draw you in thinking, okay, if they could just finish the race, like they're going to be probably some of the best cars left on the track. I'm not talking myself into it. I don't play the pole sitter at a plate race. I don't think ever in my lifetime, and I'm not going to start, even if it is AJ Allmendinger at 7,700. There's just no chance.
And this is going to have to win the.
Yeah, he's going to have to win a race.
Clean air, like clean air does not matter here.
No, in fact, sometimes you don't even want to be on the front row because you're likely to get passed with a guy that's getting a run from like 4th place. So being first at the start means absolutely
more
nothing.
Gas too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just, I don't play the pole sitter, and I'm just going to move on. Gregson and Brandon Jones, similar stories here. Brandon Jones on a plate race seems comical. We nailed it last week with him at Michigan. We knew that was a Brandon Jones type of race. The 2 mile, use the high groove, use the low groove, being able to pass, on those. It was just a perfect setup for Brandon Jones. Now we have the complete opposite. This is probably the worst track to play Brandon Jones other than outside of a road course. I would even play him on a road course than a plate race. He is a demolition derby, and you stick him next to Noah Gragson.
Is there anything on DK Sportsbook where you can put money on if they end up upside down?
Or upside down and first off the track? That would be Brandon Jones. I've seen him be 40th in like multiple plate races, just wrecking by himself. No thanks. Pass on Brandon Jones. And Gregson, no thanks either. Starting way too high and way too much of a wild card. I'm out on all 3.
The next 2, I could see GPP, like Allgaier is really good here in the JR Motorsports car. And then you have a Gibbs car, which I know Jones is a Gibbs car too. But Harrison Burton, he's really struggled this year, but this is more his type of track. A little bit of place differential.
Conservative.
He could win this race. I'm not saying by cash. These are possible if you're looking for a guy up top tournament darts to throw. Riley Herbst goes into the same bin. I have him as a GPP, but I probably should change him to fade. Because there's a little bit of place differential. He goes in the same bin with Grayson, Jones, and Herbst. So they're like all overly aggressive, and will probably end up on the grass or on their roof.
I like Burton of the next 3 here, as you were talking about. Allgaier, I could understand it. And price tags don't matter in plate races. You can make any kind of lineup you want. I don't think we
Yeah,
spoke on
leave money
that.
on the table. Do not be
Yeah,
afraid if you leave like 10, $15,000 on the table. If you like your lineup, go with it.
play it. Yeah, I completely agree. We didn't specify that at the top, but we should have. Yeah, Allgaier, I could understand it. Fourth, probably not my favorite starting position. Now, Harrison Burton, I think we were speaking on that a little bit. He is really conservative with his approach, especially on plate races. This is kind of his jam. Much like Brandon Jones was at Michigan, I kind of feel the same way about Harrison Burton. I feel pretty safe that he is not a guy that's going to get himself into trouble. And then correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he one of the cars racing with Brendan Rhodes to finish the Daytona earlier in the season?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, he has really good ability on plate races. I'm going to have Harrison Burton even as a GPP play in that fifth spot. Maybe we'll get some low ownership, and maybe he'll go from fifth to first.
And he's one
GPP
that,
for sure.
with these Gibbs cars, could be out in a pack and could actually be leading. I think he led a little bit. Let me look here. I have
Yeah, let's look at Daytona last spring.
He's raced here 3 times. He has a 0 for DNF, so he's finished every single one. He's finished all 3 in the top 5, and he's led 37 laps.
I said Ben Rhodes. It was Austin Cindric. I feel like it done.
His average finish here is 3.3.
Yeah, there you go. There you have it. Yeah, I'm in on Burton, even if he is starting this high. So
we're talking GPP, probably not a cash play, but somebody
Absolutely.
definitely in a tournament that we like.
Yep, perfect. All right, moving on. Brett Moffitt, our driver that finished second in that race for our sports. Any love here for starting spot 7?
No, the next 2, they're good guys, and they're guys that, for in a normal race, if they were starting like between 10 and 15, we thought they could probably creep up to the top 10. They save you some money, but here I think it's too dangerous.
Yeah. Jeremy Clements is a good plate race driver. If he's starting anywhere between 15 to 20, absolutely. No hesitation. 8th place, I just worry, is he, even if this race doesn't have the big one, is he going to be able to finish inside the top 5, pay off that salary? I don't, maybe 6,700, but
he's raced here 22 times, Clements.
Yeah.
And he's only finished in the top 10 twice. His average finish is 22.8.
There you have it.
Now the DNF rate is not, the DNF rate is like 22.73%. So it's not that bad. It means he's probably finishing like 4 out of 5 races, but still.
Probably finishes 4 races, but with damage of some kind. That's yeah, just some kind of damage. And he always qualifies well for plate races when they do qualifying laps. So there you have it. That's perfect analysis on Clements. Moffitt, I think it's a wild card, I would say. And I'll just leave it at that. I think GBP to fade
66% DNF rate here.
Yeah. So the 33% that he didn't DNF, he finished second. So there you have the two out range of outcomes here. So you can either be second or dead last for Brett Moffitt. Next up, we have Justin Haley. Actually wanted to talk a little bit about him, and I'm kind of glad Haley's got some place differential here. I like him on plate races. What are your thoughts?
I think he's one of the best plate racers here in the series, probably with like Austin Cindric. I have him listed as a prime play right now. As I was going through, I think he's somebody that I could feel safe in cash here. He has a win, 2 top 5s, 3 top 10s, led 24 laps in 6 races. He's only failed to finish once out of those races, and his average finish is 12.2. So even if he loses 3 places, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think Haley's a pretty strong contender here for this race. Moving on. I like him for GVPs. We have Jade Buford.
Nope. Next 3.
Ryan Sieg, I could understand. He has a little bit of, and this could actually be a downside too. He's trying to race his way in with a win into the playoffs. So I could understand that play from that standpoint. Like, okay, hey, this guy knows he has to win. He's going to be trying to do some different kind of things in 100 laps to be able to get himself in position to win at the end of the race. Could that mean staying completely in the back and staying out of trouble? Pending on how the race dictates, I could just see ownership on Ryan Sieg just for that reason. And 6,900, not too bad of a price tag if you have a lot of guys you want to play up top.
Right.
So GPP for me, I could understand the fade too, starting 11th. I totally get that as well.
I just looked at the like 15 races there. He's finished a little over half of them. So
sure.
And he's a 20th place car. So, but I can see your point too. Okay.
Absolutely.
TJ.
Moving on to our favorite country music artist, Tommy Joe Martins. No thanks.
No.
Moving on. Now we have Jeb Burton at 9,400, Cindric and Christopher Bell in the 54.
Wow.
Yeah, so here we go. I think here's a lot of ownership in contests tomorrow. Maybe not so much Jeb Burton, but Cindric and Bell, I think a lot of lineups start with them too tomorrow.
Yeah, but I think with Burton, I think everybody's going to remember that he won Talladega, was it? Even though it was rain shortened in the spring.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I believe so. Or was that Texas?
No, I'm pretty sure it's Talladega. So I think his ownership's going to be higher than needed. I would rather, and his pricing is higher too, but he does have a Cully car. Like we said, they're good here. They could all link up and like pull away and just be a pack on their own away from everybody, stay out of trouble. So that's definitely, he's got a lot of good things going for him. He's finished 3 out of 4 races here, 2 top 5s, led 26 laps. So average finishing is 14th. So he's right where he starts. So a little high on the price for me though.
Yeah, it's a little high, but like we said, pricing doesn't matter too much. I think Jeb is another one of those plays here at the top that we're going to be, playing a little bit of exposure in GPPs. Next up, we have, as we were talking about, Cindric and Bell. I think those guys are going to be pretty chalky.
Dude,
they offer upside with place differential and win equity. What is your thoughts?
You ready for this? They are both cheaper than JJ Yaley. JJ Yaley is 9,200. JJ Yaley.
Ladies and gentlemen, probably a first, and it'll never happen again. JJ Yaley is more in salary than 2 Cup drivers.
Well, Cindric's not there yet, but
he will. He is next year.
Pretty much. So anyways, Cindric's definitely a prime player here. Definitely love him. He's got a win here. He's got some place differential. I think this is a sweet spot that you really want to be in. Cup, you're probably looking for guys more in from 25 on down, but I think this is a good place with place differential, win upside. Definitely, he sometimes is a little aggressive. He's a little better on tracks here. I think he's more aggressive on road courses. So just keep him away from, Noah Grayson and AJ Allmendinger and some of the other people he's tangled with over the, but he does have a 42% DNF rate here in 7 races from the aggression. So I like him. I think he's risky. I like Christopher Bell better.
Yeah.
He's in the 54 car, which is like the car in this series. It's the one that Gibbs has run. It's the one that Kyle Busch would run when he was running. It's a Gibbs car. He's a Cup driver. He's done well here. Nothing but good things to say. I think he gets out. I think he can definitely lead. He can definitely win. And he's only 8,900. I thought he'd be like 10K.
Yeah. I thought the same, even at a starting spot of 15th, and for Cindric starting 14th. I thought both these guys, even with those starting positions, they would still be priced up.
I had to
I
go
think
back to DK and check and make sure that my spreadsheet was correct. I'm like, I thought I pulled like the wrong sheet or like the cells got off or something. It's like, there's no way these guys are below 9K.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. These guys would have extremely high ownership. It's priced too. They can fit them with all the guys in the back. So, and I think with all you said about Cindric, that could lead to a pretty good possible fade. If you wanted to pivot to Burton or pivot to Haley and go with, instead of Cindric in those lineups with all the other different combinations that you like, that could offer a good out in case, one of the chalkier guys crashes. You could still be okay if you have, the same builds as everybody, but that one less driver that's really high owned. All right, next up we have Matt Mills and Josh Williams. Okay.
I like them. Well, Matt Mills is scary. He's in a bleed. Well, here's the thing. Matt Mills, he's the first BJ McLeod car that we got to get to. And we call them the BJ McLeod cars usually. But on these tracks, they don't break down as much. They don't start and park. What they'll do is they'll just fall to the back. They'll run around safely. They'll avoid trouble. And they usually have a history of ending well. He's starting way too high. So that's why it's his fate here. And Josh Williams, we ruined his career. We've tried to pump some life back into him. He's had some good moments. This is not one, probably.
No, we've got him back into the right spending this just is not the right time.
50% DNF rate.
Yeah, spending your time. Yeah. Starting way too high. Next up, we have Jordan Anderson. He's actually a pretty decent plate racer.
He's conservative, very conservative.
Yeah,
very passive.
He's one of the guys that we typically play in the back that makes his way to the front just based on not being able to run in the front. And I think he's starting too high though.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I have him as GPP. His pricing's a little high too. I think he's got the ceiling to be a top 15 car. His average finish is 13.6 in 5 races here, but he does have a 40% DNF rate. But he has 2 top 5s and 3 top 10s. So if I have like 7,300 left and I can't get up, well, like say I have 75 left, I'm not going with Brandon Jones. I'm not going with Noah Grayson. No. I'll probably just eat the 400. Landon Castle's my other one, which was starting a little bit further. I think I'd rather have Jordan Anderson. So, but
I can see it.
Yeah.
I haven't decided on him yet, but those are some decent points. And I didn't realize the history was as good as it was. So that was eyebrow raising. Next up, we have Michael Annett at 9,800. Not sure if he's eligible for points. It looks as if he is.
This might turn into Josh Berry again. Like I haven't heard definitively that he's cleared and ready to come back.
Right. Still battling with his injuries. Typically a pretty good plate race driver if he is racing.
Yes.
I just think it's risky because we don't know what his overall health is, how well he's feeling in the car, and if he's going to race and how well. So maybe a fade. I could understand the play though, starting 19.
Yeah, definitely. And if it's Barry, he's going to start at the back, which means absolutely nothing. But Barry's not in the. We probably won't even have him on DK as a person. So I didn't see him in the player pool. Yeah, he's been here 19 races. He's won one. He's got 4 top 10s, 2 top 5s. Led like 46 laps. Average running position is 20th, so he's right around where he starts. But the 47% DNF rate just kind of, but maybe that was early in his career. And like, we don't have that. So maybe recently he's been really good form, or maybe he was good early on and recently he sucked. So we don't know. So just, I don't know. I think he can be a cash play just based on the JR Motorsports being a great program for here. With Dale Jr. backing it and his knowledge of plate racing, but cash, I think, but borderline.
Yeah, he's another guy that I'm undecided on, Anderson and Annett. Next up, we have Colin Garrett, Sam Hunt Racing, provided to be
the Cowboys former coach.
Yes, Jason Garrett.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure Hunt is the owner of the Chiefs too. So there's all kinds of football narratives into this pick. But no, I'm out. Starting too high.
No interest.
Daniel Hemrick, 21st. Here we go. Here come the increase in salaries, 10-7 for Gibbs card. But you know what? I'm playing him anyway.
I would play him as in a stack, but I would rather spend 10K in other places and not the guy below him.
The guy below him, that will be Sam Mayer, Junior Motorsports, running in the 8.
Yeah.
10-4. Young kid. He's got some promise, but there's some experience in that wheel.
Well, even outside of Daytona, he's got a 42% DNF rate in 7 races in Xfinity without the calamity of this track.
Yeah, I could see the writing on the wall as well. So even more confident in Daniel Hemrick over Sam Mayer.
Absolutely. But
maybe,
I think both will have high ownership.
Yeah, I got to fade someone up at the top. So I think it's going to be Mayer. So I expect him to win. Next up, we have Myatt Snyder, 9,600. I could see Myatt Snyder at a plate race starting 23rd.
Yeah, Childress is definitely good at plate racing. They've been working, like I said, in the Cup videos with Hendricks to increase their speed. And you've seen it in Dillon and Reddick. So I don't think that, you're not going to see it here. I think it's going to be a fast car. He's a pretty clean racer. He's only been here 3 times. He only has one top 10, average finish 19.7. But I think there's some other knuckleheads higher up here that he could get ahead. I think he's definitely got top 15 potential. So he's not a lock, but I think he's a little bit more pricey than I want, but it's a good car. It could be a fast car. It could be a solid car here. So I'm another borderline cash guy.
Yeah, I've had some success with Snyder on plate races. I believe last Daytona, he was another car that finished relatively high on. Let me double check myself here. No, he was not. Must be thinking of another time I've used.
Dirk Snyder from Dukes of Hazzard.
Anyway, next up we have Ryan Vargas. I'm not sure. Ryan Vargas, your boy?
No.
Yeah, I mean, even 24 still feels high.
He's only raced here once, which he finished 18th, and he finished. But yeah, it's just JD Motorsports. I don't know about those cars.
Yeah,
unless it's Castles. I don't think that's the only. He's in the 6 here. Yeah, I think I'd rather have the 4.
Okay. Next up, we have Alex Labay. I think this is going to be a pretty strong play tomorrow. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I like him here. Pricing's decent. Definitely has some upside. Has 5 races here. 1 top 10. So 40% DNF rate. So that means he's finished like 3 out of the 5, but he's usually solid.
Yeah. 25th. We're starting to get into our plate.
Yeah. He definitely has top 15 upside, possibly, a little bit higher, but just the price is the main thing here. You could play some other guys in this range for like $2,000 more or $3,000 more and probably get the same result. So
sometimes I will say this, in watching these races over the years, these guys that have good cars and have good ability and they get into good running position at Daytona also kind of is their demise. Like, even if it is these guys that are really cheap and they have like semi-good racing equipment, like them just being able to keep up sometimes ultimately is their doom. And then it's guys like Norm Benning, who is starting 40th and he's like 16 laps down, but he finishes like 21st because he didn't wreck, because he's just been.
He also drives a truck.
Yeah, he's also following the pace car down pit road half.
That would be hilarious if Norm Benning shows up in his truck in this Xfinity race and starts 40th. I am playing him 100%.
Well, because he's not going to do anything other
No,
than
he isn't.
be 10,
He's going to
10
finish
laps
sixth.
down
Yes, exactly.
and finish 24th or something. But sometimes you don't want to be in those good running positions. But I think Alex Lebay, if he can finish without getting through those said wrecks, he could be a top 10 car, tomorrow. So that's the kind of upside you're talking about here. And that's what you want at 7K. Landon Castle, as you had talked about with Ryan Vargas, you rather have the 4. Here he is at 7,400, 26th.
I'm okay with him. 8 races here, 25% DNF rate, which is good compared to the rest of the field. So he's finished 6 out of the 8 races. He's got a top 5 here. Hasn't led any laps, but I think he's going to be more popular than he should be. But I think GPP, I think, if you land around him, I think it's going to be a choice between he or Jordan Anderson.
Yeah, and that's what I'm deciding. And I think if I get to Anderson, I might just play Landon Castle or someone else I'll talk about here in a moment. We have Jeffrey Earnhardt. No. Kyle Weatherman. I like this play.
Yeah. I do
28
too.
is a little too high, but I think I don't know. What are your thoughts? You go first.
If the car can hold up, the Harmon car is scary. He had one race here, he finished 15th. So, there is potential. The pricing's nice. So, I mean, I'd rather take a shot on him than Buford, Tommy Joe Martins, Mills, or Josh Williams, or even Colin Garrett,
Right.
or Ryan Vargas. So, those are the other guys in this ballpark. And so I definitely think he's one that could be.
Yeah, something could break on that car early. That is definitely in the cards. Maybe one of these other cars. I mean, we have multiple plays down here, so we got to find the optimal. Maybe
so we're starting
to
hit the range where like most of the people who their strategy is just stack the back and don't care about it. We're starting to enter that territory here.
Yeah, so maybe Weatherman isn't optimal starting ahead of all of these guys. Next up, we have Blaine Perkins in the 23 for RSS Racing, 5,400, just a couple more $100, and you'll probably get lesser ownership. Maybe Blaine Perkins is the play.
He's only had very limited experience on plate tracks, very limited experience at Xfinity also. So I think he's only one run race this year. He finished 34th and it was DNF. So probably going to be back here. Probably will be a little bit more conservative and careful. Instead of like a mayor or somebody who's going to try to like win it on the first lap. So I think he's in play here for the price point. I like the equipment better than Weatherman, but Weatherman has more experience. So it's in play. Low ownership, and I think it's a safe cash play.
Next up, I think we have a guy that we might agree on is the better play, Mason Massey, 78 in the BJ McLeod.
Yep, these guys are all going to fall to the back. Not like Norm Benning 10 laps back, but they're going to be, behind the lead pack, and they're going to avoid chaos, and then they're not going to make a move till late in the race.
Yeah, I like Massey.
He's going to advance by attrition.
Yeah, and he's racing in BJ McLeod's typical car. Like if BJ were to race in the race, it would be the 78. So maybe the extra funding, this car has got some extra juice. He's not a terrible race car driver either. He actually has a little bit of talent from what I've seen. So maybe there's a good finish in Mason Massey. Next up, we have the highest price I've ever seen on Brandon Brown, and that is 10-1. But I think you do have to play him tomorrow.
He's got a top 10 car, but what's the cost to get it up there?
He's got to get through a lot of jockeying, a lot of battling. He's going to be kind of where you don't want to be on the restart, the very first. And
he's his own team, so it's not like he's going to be really pairing up with the Cully guys or pairing up with maybe as a tech or a manufacturer alliance with somebody that I haven't noticed yet, but I like it. I think he's going to be a very chalky play here because this is a very good driver in the strategy of stacking from the back. And I think he and the other guy back here that we're going to get to in a second are everybody's going to lock them in and start there, where we talked about starting up with like Cindric and Bell in that range. I think everybody's going to lock these guys and then just like rotate 32, 33, 34, 35, 38, 39, and 40 among them.
Right.
And like build like 10 lineups and just combinations of all those. Call it a day.
That is 100% the build for tomorrow. I like Brown. I mean, you should play him, but there's going to be a lot of game theory in not playing him in your lineup. Like if you just have one or the other, instead of both, like there's theory in that, and there's lower ownership in your lower chance of duplicates in your lineup with that kind of theory. Next up, we have David Starr in the Hattori Motorsports vehicle 61. I don't mind this play, 6,500. There's not much history to go on, but he's got a good equipment.
Oh,
good
David
car.
Starr, he's had 16 races here.
Or not? Did I say experience?
Yeah.
Like, there's not much success.
Right. Yeah. One top 5 out of 16 races. Average finishing is 23.4. So it's not bad. 31% DNF rate. So that's not bad either compared to some of the other guys that are in the 40s or 50s in this range.
Oh, maybe there you go.
So yeah, I can see. I think he's more of a GPP. For me, I prefer the guy under him more.
That is Colby Howard, 6,300, starting 33rd.
Yeah, JD is they also tend to do the BJ McLeod thing, and the cars are pretty reliable. I think they're more reliable than McLeod.
Yeah, I could see Colby Howard being in a ton of my lineups tomorrow. Next up, we have JJ Yaley.
Well, this one is like we talked about, like Earnhardt and Vargas being a little bit questionable, but yeah, I think so. We're going to see a pack of like Vargas, Castle, Jeffrey Earnhardt, and Colby Howard, and then we're right behind them. We're going to see like a pack of Massey, and Matt Mills, and.
Yeah.
Wow, there's not that many BJ McLeod cars here.
It's only three of them.
Well, the ones really, yeah, but that's not really. I think that's more of a Stuart Haas one that's just has the BJ McLeod number,
right?
Because that's the one that Harvard was running when he was here. I think there's some better parts behind that one. That's where they like we'll use your number and your name, but we're just gonna bring our car and you can paint it like yours.
Sure. Pretty much. Next up, we have your guy here, JJ Yaley in the SS Green Light Machine, 9,200. Got to play JJ.
Yeah, he's good.
Good on play.
He's got experience here, 15 races, like 1 top 5, 2 top 10s. He's actually led a couple laps, so that's probably because everybody else pitted and he didn't. But he's got probably close to top 20 upside. He's finished 2/3 of his races here, so relatively safe. Yeah, definitely. You're going to pay for it, the safety. But I think that I have him GPP, but I think I might make him a cash play. I think he's safe enough here.
Yeah. If you are not paying for, I would say Daniel Hemrick or Sam Mayer, I think JJ is a good pivot off of that. If you're not believing in Jeb Burton, Cindric, and Bell, or you're balancing your lineup without Briscoe. So those are some thoughts to have when rostering him. Jason White, go ahead and explain this one to me. 9K.
I think he had a top 10 in the spring race, so I think they're just people might remember that and look at it, but I don't get it either. I'm his GPP. I think he's too expensive. I think he's going to have like medium ownership because of people trying to stack like all the combinations back here. 5 races here. He has the 1 top 10. He has a 40% DNF rate, so he's only finished 3 out of the 5 races. His average finishing position was 25th, but if you take out the 1 luck box top 10, then wasn't Was it? I can't remember the Daytona 500. Was that rain for Xfinity too? I remember the Cup race was just a nightmare with weather and delays, and it was almost like 4 in the morning or something before it was over. And then we all woke up the next morning and were like, "Wow, did this guy really just win the Daytona 500?"
Oh, really? That was him?
No, no, not him for the Cup race
Oh,
I'm talking about. But I can't remember if we
okay.
had weather for. I thought Daytona was
Trevor Bain? Talking about Trevor Bain's win?
was it Trevor Bain? It was Michael McDowell this
Oh,
year.
McDowell.
Yeah.
This year. Okay, this year.
Yeah,
Sorry, I
yeah.
was
The
not
the
following.
Daytona 500 for Cup was horrible with like
Yeah, it
weather
was terrible.
delays and stuff. So I
Well,
can't remember.
I know what it was. We had the big one right before rain hit.
Yeah,
So we had the big one. So we were already on red flag. And everyone that basically had destroyed equipment came off of a like 4 hour rain delay and just said, yeah, no, we're done. So there was like 20 cars on the track and
yeah. Didn't the
McDowell
race
won.
start at like 3 in the afternoon and didn't resume at like 8 o'clock at night or something?
I'm pretty sure it was either like
And
super
none of us
late
knew
or
if our
like
cars were like going to resume or not. Yeah, that was. Yeah,
I think it finished on a Monday,
you,
if I'm totally honest.
I think that was last year when like Trump was
Oh.
like the grand marshal. Anyways, yeah, but
Oh, that wasn't the same race? I
I
thought that
don't.
was the same race.
It couldn't have been because Trump was the president in February
Oh
this
yeah,
year.
you're right. Then it definitely was. We've had
But
back-to-back
but my
shitty
point is
Daytonas.
bringing it all back here is that I can't remember if there were weather concerns or not with this race, but you have like weird guys like this who end up in the top 10, so you never know, and I think that's why people stack with this strategy. So anyways, going back to White, I think he's a GPP. I think he's way too high priced. I would rather play JJ Yaley. I think he is a more sound play there, but
Yeah.
people are going to play White. So sorry for the long rant there. Let's move on.
All right. Next up, we have Caesar Baccarella in the DGM Racing, the number 98 6K. Is Caesar got any kind of plate skills? Kind of needs some
He had a
cheap
top 15,
value.
he had a top 15 in the spring. He's
Okay.
another guy that just kind of hangs out in the back and then makes an approach
Yep.
late. He's got
This is
almost a
the guy.
60% DNF rate though, so I
Oh
am
boy.
kind of hesitant with him. But but he's priced that reason. That's why he's 6K.
Okay, that's fair. Next up, we have Chase Briscoe, probably the chalkiest chalk that ever chalked, right?
Yeah, at least he's not 14K like what Kyle Busch, like when he was there, AJ Allmendinger on a road course when he didn't qualify for anything and starting like dead last, and he's going to win the race. But yeah, 11.5, it's very high price. He's coming back down from Cup. I have his Xfinity stats in front of me. 4 races here, 25% DNF rate. He had 2 top 5s, led 7% of the laps in 27. Average finish was 13.8. So it's not like he is like a stone cold lock for this one, but I think everybody's going to use him. I think he's probably going to be the highest owned driver, probably 40%, maybe up to 60%. So if you're looking for a different way to go, I don't think he's a must have. I think he's going to be super popular. I think it makes sense. But if you can, and I did this on a couple of the breakdowns. It was one that you weren't with me where I had a little extra time, and I broke down like, here's, if Kyle Busch wins the race, here's how many points I think like the other guys that I'm going to get with him are going to get. But then if I don't use Kyle Busch and I spread the money between 2 other drivers, I can make out better sometimes. And again, this race is so up in the air, you don't really know that. It's not as predictable as that race where I was breaking it down. But bottom line is, I don't think that you have to play him.
There you have it. Good breakdown, Mega. Next up, we have Spencer Boyd. Now, I know you're playing this guy. You play him whether it's a plate race or not.
What? Have I ever played Spencer Boyd?
Yeah, you're a Spencer Boyd guy. I know it.
He'll keep the car clean. I know that. He's raced here twice and he's finished both of them in 21st overall position. So out of all the ones statistically, he looks the best in this range.
Cole called it. Called it. I'll play him too. Why not? I need somebody in the 50s. So this guy makes the cut. Joe Groff Jr. Yeah, we've been waiting all year to play him.
Yeah, this is the time.
I think this would be the moment. 6,100 plate race.
Yeah,
Don't park it, and I
I
think
think
you
he's
got
more of a
you got
lock
a
than
chance.
Briscoe down here.
Well, yeah, you need that savings
Yeah.
to kind of, yeah.
Although he's only finished 1 out of 3 races here.
And you know what? I guarantee you at least one of those is a park. So
Right.
I'm nervous about that for that reason. I wouldn't cash play.
Should we change his thing to red light racing instead of green light racing? Or maybe
Dynamite.
yellow light racing, because we're
Yellow.
proceed with caution.
First, yeah, he is a caution. Next up is Timothy Veens, Mike Harmon Racing.
I think a lot of people are going to be on him, but
Why not? It's the 40th.
It's very unreliable car though. So he one race here, he finished 18th, I think, or I think that was it. But then again, like that could have just been complete luck. It really scares me. I know this is gonna be super popular because he has the most place differential. If he does, if he runs into Joe Graff like the Daytona race with the trucks, and we lose both of those guys, it still shouldn't end our day because you're not going to lose any points.
I cannot believe that actually happened.
That was Daytona trucks, wasn't it?
That was Daytona trucks. Was probably the worst race I've ever witnessed.
No. That was the dirt race. That
Nashville?
was Knoxville. Yeah.
Knoxville. Yeah, that's the one.
That's not in Tennessee.
So bad. I can't believe I watched that. Anyway, 40th place plate race. I gotta always have some exposure. It's just like the complete opposite of taking the pole sitter. So I think we're good to end it there. Any last and final words of encouragement for our viewers here?
Bankroll management this weekend. Do not go heavy on these races. NASCAR is a high variant sport, and now you're adding this into it, which is making it super unpredictable. So, like I said, place differential is what you're looking for. We've tried to call out some people that we think, have a good shot of actually finishing this race, but anything at any point can happen. So be careful, play some lines, enjoy it, have some fun, but live to see another weekend.
Absolutely. Like you said, bankroll management at its highest. Certainly going to have to take my own advice. Every time I think I have Daytona figured out, I don't. So like you said,
if you want to play heavy, you play your DK points, don't play your dollars.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah. This is your crowns.
Yeah.
Unload the crowns.
Use your crowns.
Anyway, enjoy this race, guys. Like this video if you felt like you enjoyed this as well. Comment below with any questions you may have. Strategy wise, picks wise, whatever it is that you need help answering, go ahead and comment. If you would like to get into the Discord for any projections and core lineups coming out tomorrow before the day's race, you can find that link in our Twitter handle at FSI DFS, and that link is in the bio. You can follow me on Twitter at TKNation47. That is at MegaRuler31. Enjoy yours Friday night, guys. We will see you Saturday for the Cup race. Take it easy.
Good luck.